All right, then everyone get ready to grab your best headlamp because today we're diving deep
Oh, yeah.
into a world hidden beneath the surface.
That's right.
Skavenblight, the capital of the Skaven Empire.
Mhm.
You might be thinking, oh, another underground city? How original.
Right.
But trust me, you've never encountered anything quite like this in your adventures.
You've shared an audio excerpt from the Warhammer Fantasy Atlas with us, and it does not disappoint.
Oh, wow.
Buckle up because this deep dive takes us into a city where the stench of industry and decay is so thick you could practically taste it, and where the ruins of ancient dwarven cities are just, well, another part of the Skavenblight suburbs, basically.
Yeah. It's like someone took all our darkest urban legends about what lurks beneath the streets and cranked it up to 11. The source material mentions that it would take 1,000 lifetimes to find your way back if you were unlucky enough to get lost in its depths.
Let's be honest, if you found yourself wandering the depths of Skavenblight, getting lost would be the least of your problems. This place is a testament to the Skaven way of life, a sprawling monument to their unique brand of chaos and ingenuity. To really understand Skavenblight, you have to understand its inhabitants.
The Skaven, you hear Ratmen and you might think, oh, that's cute, like a Disney movie gone wrong, but these are not your friendly neighborhood rodents.
Definitely not. Picture the most cunning, power-hungry rat you can imagine. Now multiply that by about 1,000, give it a nasty warpstone-fueled temper and an insatiable desire for conquest, and you're starting to get the picture.
And warpstone, for those new to the world, is basically this glowing green rock that powers everything in Skaven society. It's volatile, it's unpredictable, and it might just be the most dangerous substance in the Warhammer world.
A perfect metaphor for the Skaven themselves, wouldn't you say? They're driven by this primal need to expand, to consume, to dominate. It's woven into their mythology, their worship of the horned rat, this deity of decay and ruin. And nowhere is that more evident than in Skavenblight.
The source paints this picture of relentless industry, even amidst the ruins. We're talking workshops churning out bizarre contraptions, mines spewing toxic fumes, all fueled by this unpredictable warpstone. Is there anything in our world, historically that comes close to this level of industrial nightmare?
It's almost impossible to compare, but there are some parallels. Think about London during the Industrial Revolution, the smog, the grime, the constant churn of production. Now take that and magnify it 100-fold. Swap the coal dust for warpstone particles and add a healthy dose of backstabbing and paranoia, and you might be getting close.
It's mind-boggling to think about. And you mentioned earlier that even ancient dwarven ruins are just absorbed into the Skavenblight sprawl. Does this suggest the Skaven are far older than they might seem?
That's a question that has puzzled scholars for centuries. It's heavily implied that the Skaven have been digging, expanding, and generally making a mess of the Under Empire for a very, very long time.
Which makes me wonder about the power structure in this chaotic city. I mean, it's got to be more than just every rat for themselves, right?
You'd be surprised how organized chaos can be, especially when you have 4 great clans vying for power and influence. Think of them as the pillars of Skavenblight, each with their own unique specialties and rivalries that make the city buzz with a special kind of terrifying energy.
Okay, let's break it down for our listeners. Let's start with Clan Scryer, the inventors of the bunch, shall we? The audio excerpt makes it very clear that these are not the kind of folks you want to borrow a soldering iron from.
Put it this way, if it explodes, mutates, or generally violates the laws of physics and common sense, Clan Scryer is probably behind it. They're the engineers, the tinkerers, the mad scientists of the Skaven world.
And I imagine they're responsible for a good chunk of those 1,000 lifetimes you'd need to navigate Skavenblight.
Absolutely. They're constantly experimenting, building and rebuilding. What you perceive as chaotic sprawl is to them just a work in progress. They see potential where others see danger. Well, more danger.
And then there's Clan Mulder, the bioengineers.
Right.
Now, these guys sound like they take mad science to a whole new level,
Yeah.
even for the Skaven.
Let's just say if you're ever unlucky enough to find yourself in a Skavenblight fighting pit, you'd better hope you're up against Clan Scry's latest contraption rather than something Clan Mulder's cooked up.
Oh, jeez. The source material mentions mutated creatures, war beasts. I don't even want to know what that entails.
Think of the most terrifying creatures you've ever encountered in the Warhammer world.
Oh, boy.
Then imagine something twice as big, 3 times as mean, and with an extra set of teeth just for good measure. That's Clan Mulder's handiwork.
Okay, I am officially creeped out now.
Ah.
And we haven't even got to Clan Pestilence yet.
Ah, yes, the plague monks. In most cities, a rampant plague would be considered a bad thing.
Yeah,
In Skavenblight, it's just Tuesday.
and probably a religious experience if you ask Clan Pestilence.
Exactly. They see disease as a weapon, A gift from the horned rat himself. They're the ones who brew those delightful concoctions that give Skavenblight its unique aroma. You know, the one that lingers in your nostrils for days even after you've scrubbed yourself raw?
Let's just say I'm glad this is an audio deep dive. So we've got the inventors, the muscle, the walking biohazards. Who are we missing?
Ah, yes, Clan Eshin. The silent partners, you could say? Or maybe the silent assassins is more accurate.
The ninjas of the Skaven world.
Precisely. You rarely see them coming, and by the time you do, it's usually too late. They're the whispers in the shadows, the glint of a blade in the darkness. If the other clans are the gears that keep Skavenblight running, Clan Eshin is the oil ensuring everything runs smoothly, or at least as smoothly as things can run in a city ruled by giant, power-hungry rats.
You know, listening to you describe this place, it's amazing anything gets done at all. You've got 4 clans each with their own agenda, all fueled by Warpstone and a healthy dose of paranoia. It's a wonder they haven't blown themselves up yet.
And yet Skavenblight persists.
Wow.
And at the heart of this chaotic metropolis stands a structure as imposing and enigmatic as the Skaven themselves, the Tower of Madness.
Oh my goodness, speaking of Skaven ingenuity and maybe a touch of madness, the source material describes this tower as this mishmash of architectural styles, almost like it was built in stages, each one more outlandish than the last.
And that's where the story gets really interesting.
Okay.
You see, the Tower of Madness isn't just a testament to Skaven engineering, it's also a reminder of what was there before.
Before Skavenblight, you mean
Kavzar.
Kavzar.
The legend of Kavzar is a tragic one. It's a tale of hubris ambition and a healthy dose of bad decisions.
The source material mentions something about a tower, a stranger, and a bell, and a whole lot of regret.
It's said that Kavzar was a city like no other, built by humans and dwarves working together in a rare display of unity. They were determined to build a tower so high it would pierce the heavens, a symbol of their combined might.
Ambitious, to say the least. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, for starters, their grand design hit a snag. They'd gotten as far as they could with their current technology, and the tower remained unfinished. Then, as these things often do, a stranger arrived.
Let me guess. Tall, mysterious, offering a deal they couldn't refuse.
You've got it. He promised to complete their tower in a single night, to make it even more magnificent than they could imagine. All he asked for in return was the chance to add his own dedication at the very top.
And did anyone think to ask for references?
Apparently not. They were blinded by their ambition, by the promise of achieving the impossible. They readily agreed, eager to see their vision brought to life.
So the stranger finishes the tower and
as the final stone is set in place, a colossal storm descends upon Kavzar. The sky churns, the wind howls, and atop that newly completed tower, a bell begins to toll.
the audio excerpt described it as a harbinger of doom. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
13 times the bell tolled, each clang echoing through the city, and with each peal a wave of plague and pestilence washed over Kavzar. The very earth seemed to crack and split, and from those fissures they came.
The Skaven.
The Skaven.
So this magnificent city, this testament to collaboration and ambition, it was brought low by a stranger, a bell, and a horde of plague-ridden ratmen.
It's a cautionary tale, isn't it?
Right.
A reminder that even the grandest of aspirations can have unforeseen consequences, and that sometimes the things we build to stand the test of time can crumble faster than we could ever imagine.
And now the Skaven have made their home among the ruins. It's almost poetic in a twisted sort of way.
Indeed, the Tower of Madness, once a symbol of Kavzar's ambition, now serves as a testament to its downfall. A constant reminder that in the Warhammer world, nothing lasts forever, and even the mightiest civilizations can fall prey to the whims of chaos.
It makes you wonder, what will future civilizations think when they uncover the ruins of Skavenblight? Will they shudder at the thought of the creatures who dwelt there, marvel at their strange ingenuity, or perhaps both?
That's a fascinating question, and one that gets to the heart of why we study history, why we delve into these stories of civilizations lost and found. It's a way for us to understand our place in the world, to learn from the successes and failures of those who came before. And perhaps to find a strange sort of comfort in knowing that even in the face of chaos and uncertainty, life in some form finds a way to endure. Even if that form happens to be a society of warpstone-fueled ratmen with a penchant for destruction.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, if you stumbled upon Skavenblight thousands of years from now with no context, how would you even begin to make sense of it? It'd be like trying to piece together a puzzle where half the pieces are missing and the other half are gnawed on by something that really likes warpstone.
Imagine the archaeological reports. Evidence suggests a complex social structure, advanced engineering, and a rather concerning fascination with plague and pestilence. You'd have scholars scratching their heads for centuries debating whether it was a force for innovation or destruction. Or perhaps, as is often the case with a Skaven, a bit of both.
It's a good thing we have experts like you to help us navigate these treacherous waters. So for our listeners who are just starting their journey into the world of Warhammer, what would you say is the most important thing to remember about Skavenblight?
Remember that Skavenblight isn't just a city. It's a reflection of the Skaven themselves. It's chaotic, it's ingenious, it's constantly on the verge of tearing itself apart. And yet it endures. It's a testament to their resilience, their cunning, and their ability to thrive in the darkest corners of the world.
And maybe a reminder that those corners aren't always that far below the surface.
Precisely. Skavenblight serves as a warning and perhaps a challenge to those who think they've mastered the world above.
Sure.
It reminds us that there are always forces lurking beneath the surface, forces that operate by their own rules, driven by desires we can barely comprehend.
And that sometimes the best course of action is to let sleeping rats lie.
Unless those rats happen to be armed with warpstone-powered weaponry and a desire to conquer the world, in which case
Solid advice. This deep dive has been an incredible journey into the heart of Skavenblight. We've explored its history, met its inhabitants, and uncovered the secrets lurking beneath its twisted towers.
We've only just scratched the surface, of course. There's always more to discover in the rich tapestry of the Warhammer world.
For those eager to delve even deeper, you know what to do. Grab your copy of the Warhammer Fantasy Atlas and prepare to be both amazed and slightly terrified by what you find.
And remember, the next time you hear a scratching sound in your basement, it might not just be the plumbing.
Until next time, keep your wits about you, your blades sharp, and never trust a rat with a plan.